Here we have the access hole to the cave of Machpelah. Our slide background shows the access hole to this cave as it is today, as an archaeological site. Whereas the inspired text of Scripture, the Bible, gives us the account of the relationship that Jacob and his family had with Esau and his family, they being brothers and kindred. We don't get the whole story from the inspired text of Scripture that's in the Bible. We get the rest of the story from the extra biblical text of Jasher. And what an account we get. The book of Jasher records an occurrence that the inspired text doesn't give us. So we get the whole story from the book of Jasher. That occurrence was the battle that took place at the cave of Machpelah between Jacob and his sons and Esau and his sons. And even more than this, Esau is still living at the time. Genesis, the 23rd chapter, verse 16 to 20, gives us the account of the original purchase of the cave of Machpelah, along with the whole area around the cave that Abraham purchased. Abraham paid 400 shekels of silver, which was the currency that they used in those days. Genesis 23rd chapter, verse 16 to 20. And Abraham hearkened unto Ephron, and Abraham weighed to Ephron the silver, which he had named in the audience of the sons of Heth, 400 shekels of silver, current money with the merchant. And the field of Ephron, which was in Machpelah, which was before Mamre, the field and the earth and the cave which was therein, and all the trees that were in the field that were in all the borders around about were made sure to unto Abraham for a possession in the presence of the children of Heth, before all that went in at the gate of the city. And after this, Abraham buried Sarah his wife in the cave of the field of Machpelah before Mamre. The same is Hebron in the land of Canaan. And the field and the cave that is therein were made sure unto Abraham for possession of a burying place by the sons of Heth. So now, who were the sons of Heth? Genesis, the 10th chapter, verse 15 to 19. And Canaan begat Sidon, his firstborn, and Heth, and the Jebusite, and the Amorite, and the Girgashite, and the Hivite, and the Archite, and the Sinite, and the Arvadite, and the Zemarite, and the Hamathite. And afterwards were the families of the Canaanites spread abroad. And the border of the Canaanites was from Sidon, as thou comest to Gerar into Gaza, as thou goest into Sodom and Gomorrah, and Admah, and Zeboim, even unto Lasha. Abraham was dealing with giants. Now, this is an important side note that gives us an idea of who Abraham was dealing with regarding the cave of Machpelah. The real story of which the inspired text doesn't give us is the fact that Abraham was dealing with men that were so large, their height easily exceeded in excess of 100 or so feet. The Bible name for these beings is called Nephilim. They're recorded in Genesis 6 chapter, verse 1 through 4. Think of how big and tall these inhabitants of the land were measured against Abraham, who was an average-sized man as depicted in this backdrop. And we have the skeletons of these average men, and we have the skeletons of the Nephilim. These were the same nation of beings that were involved in the War of the Kings in Genesis, the 14th chapter, chapter 14. Genesis, the 6th chapter, verse 1 through 4. And it came to pass, when men began to multiply on the face of the earth, and daughters were born unto them, that the sons of God saw the daughters of men, that they were fair, and they took them wives of all which they chose. And the Lord said, My spirit shall not always strive with man, for that he also is flesh. Yet his days shall be 120 years. There were giants in the earth in those days, and also after that, when the sons of God came unto the daughters of men, and they bare children to them, the same became mighty men which were of old, men of renown. Amos, the 2nd chapter, verse 9. Yet destroyed I the Amorite before them, whose height was like the height of the cedars, and he was strong as the oaks. Yet I destroyed his fruit from above, and his roots from beneath. Now Amos, the 2nd chapter, the 9th verse, tells us how tall these men were. They were as tall as a cedar tree, like the height of the cedar. The average size of a baby cedar tree we have depicted here. The Amos 2:9 text is not a metaphor or exaggeration. These were actual tribes of giants, and Yah hated them. Abraham, upon his death, was buried in this same cave along with Sarah, his wife. Genesis, the 25th chapter, verse 8 to 10. Then Abraham gave up the ghost and died in a good old age, an old man and full of years, and was gathered to his people. And his sons Isaac and Ishmael buried him in the cave of Machpelah, in the field of Ephron, the son of Zohar the Hittite, which is before Mamre, the field which Abraham purchased of the sons of Heth. There was Abraham buried, and Sarah his wife.